You just tried it. Or you thought about trying it. A finger along your own ribs, the sole of your own foot. And nothing happened. Pressure, texture. No laugh, no flinch, no reflex to curl away. Now picture someone else doing exactly that. Same spot, same pressure. You tense just reading it. Same skin, same nerve endings. The same signal traveling the same wire into the same part of the brain, and two completely different experiences. The only thing that changed is who was holding the finger. That gap is not a party trick. It is the clearest window you will ever get into the strangest fact about your brain. Your brain does not wait for the world. It guesses. In 1998, 3 researchers at University College London built a machine to tickle people. Sarah Jane Blakemore, Daniel Wolpert, and Chris Frith wanted to isolate the one variable everyone assumes matters, and nobody had ever tested properly. The setup was simple and slightly absurd. A person lay under a robotic arm with a piece of foam on the end. They moved a lever with their own hand, and the robot copied the movement and stroked their palm. The person was doing the tickling. The robot was only the middleman. And it did not tickle, exactly as you would expect. Then the researchers changed one thing. They added a delay. The robot waited a fraction of a second before copying the movement. At 0.2 of a second, the sensation came back. Same hand, same foam, same person in complete control of the motion. But now it tickled. Nothing about the touch had changed. The only thing that changed was the timing of the prediction. Here is what that means. Every time you move, your brain does not simply send a command to your muscles. It sends the command, and at the same moment, it sends a copy of that command sideways to a structure at the back of your skull called the cerebellum. The cerebellum takes that copy and runs a simulation. It calculates in advance exactly what the world is about to feel like. Then the actual sensation arrives. Your brain compares the two. If the prediction matches the sensation, the signal is turned down. Quietly, automatically, before it ever reaches awareness. It is not news. You already knew. If the prediction does not match, the volume stays up. Something touched you that you did not cause. That is worth your attention. Tickling is what attention feels like when the source is unpredictable and the target is a vulnerable part of your body. So you cannot tickle yourself because you cannot surprise yourself. And that raises a question that goes much further than tickling. Is this the same machinery that tells you which parts of the world are you? Watch what happens when it breaks. Blakemore went on to test people with schizophrenia who experience what psychiatrists call passivity symptoms. These are people who report that their movements are not their own, that someone else is moving their arm, that their thoughts are being inserted from outside. She had them try to tickle themselves. They could. Their hands worked normally. Their skin worked normally. What was different was the prediction step. The copy of the motor command was not being used to cancel the sensation, so their own touch arrived at the brain the way a stranger's touch arrives at yours. Unannounced. Unexplained. Think about what that implies. The feeling that you are the author of your own actions is not a belief you hold. It is not something you reason your way to. It is a calculation your brain runs thousands of times a day, below the level of anything you would call thinking, by comparing a guess against reality. When the calculation works, you are you. When it fails, the same arm belongs to somebody else. And this system is not only about touch. It is the reason your vision does not smear when your eyes move. Flick your eyes across the room right now. The image on your retina swings violently. You saw nothing move. Your brain predicted the swing and canceled it. But if someone gently pushes your eyeball from the side, the world jumps, because that motion was not predicted. It is the reason you can hold a cup steady while walking. It is the reason your own voice does not startle you. It is why a sudden, loud noise makes you jump and your own shout does not. You are living inside a prediction, checked against the world, corrected only where it fails. But that is only half of it. Because if your brain is that good at canceling out what it expects, then everything you do repeatedly is being quietly turned down. The commute you have driven 400 times, the face of the person you have woken up next to for 9 years, the route from your desk to the kitchen. Your brain has excellent models of all of it, and excellent models make for very small signals. That is not a metaphor. It is the same mechanism. Prediction matches reality, volume goes down. This is why the first week of a new job feels longer than the next 6 months. Why a holiday takes up more room in memory than the month before it. Why children experience summers that seem to last forever, and you experience a year that has apparently just ended again. Novelty is not a mood. Novelty is what a failed prediction feels like from the inside. And here is the uncomfortable part. Your brain treats a well-predicted world as a solved problem. Solved problems do not need attention, so the better you get at your life, the less of it arrives. So what do you actually do with that? You cannot switch the system off. You should not want to. It is the reason you can walk without thinking about walking, and it is the reason you know where you end and the world begins. But you can notice what it costs you. The reason a new city feels so vivid is not that the city is more interesting than your street. It is that your brain has no model of it yet, so nothing gets canceled. Everything arrives at full volume. 2 days in an unfamiliar place lay down more memory than 2 months at home, and this is exactly why. You cannot manufacture surprise about your own life on demand, but you can stop treating familiarity as evidence that nothing is there. Take a different route home. Not because the route matters, but because a broken prediction is the only way in. Look at the face you've looked at 10,000 times as though somebody just handed you a photograph of a stranger. Your brain will resist. That is the point. Your ancestors did not need to be told this. They lived in a world that broke its own predictions constantly, where the map was never finished and the next ridge was always unknown. The machinery was built for that world. It was built to filter out the tree that is always there, so it could catch the movement behind it. Now the tree is your whole life, and the machinery is still filtering. You just tried to tickle yourself, and nothing happened. Nothing happened because your brain got there first. Ask yourself how much else it is getting to first.